All right, so it looks like we've kind of gone ahead and even out. So we'll go ahead and get started with our presentation. Again, thank you so much for joining us for our Opportunities for Binghamton Transfer Students webinar as part of our virtual open house. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Michael Henningsen, and I am the Transfer Admissions Specialist in the Office of Undergraduate Admissions here at Binghamton University. This afternoon, I am joined by a terrific panel of professionals from different offices, as well as our Binghamton Transfer Student Association Club. And we're going to be talking to you today about some of the great opportunities that await you here at Binghamton as a transfer student. So, one of the important things that we always like to start off with is obviously we know we're not able to physically welcome you on campus at this point because of COVID. So we wanted to at least provide you with an opportunity to kind of see what campus does look like. So up on your screen is a great aerial view of our Vestal campus, our main campus here at Binghamton. And we're hoping at some point in the very near future, we'll be able to physically welcome you to campus, either for a tour or to welcome you as a new Bearcat, should you decide to apply and get accepted here at Binghamton. So talking a little bit about Binghamton, let me advance my slide here. Just some interesting fast facts. Here at Binghamton, we have about 3,300 transfer students. That works out to be 1 out of every 4 student here at Binghamton is considered a transfer student, whether that is a student that has transferred from a 2-year to a 4-year or from another 4-year here to Binghamton. Where we're located really is a great opportunity for all of our students, both first year and transfer, because we're centrally located not only within the state of New York, where we're close to some of the major cities in New York City, Rochester, Syracuse, Buffalo, but we're also really centrally located within the Northeast. And that is going to come into big play for internships, for job shadowing, and for when you do get ready to apply for those jobs, you're really going to be able to tap into those large markets really within a 3 to 5 hour radius from Binghamton. Again, the larger cities in the Northeast is really within a 3 to 5 hour drive, again, with Binghamton being centrally located. One of the important numbers that we really like to focus on is the fact that we have an 88% transfer retention rate. This puts us in the top 2 or 3% of all colleges in the nation in terms of students staying here at Binghamton. That 88% percentage rate is extremely high, and it's something we are extremely proud of. And there's a lot of factors that go into why we have such a high retention rate. A lot of it is because of the great academics that Binghamton has. Binghamton has a lot of accolades that we've received over the past few years, with being the number 1 public university in New York. We consistently rank as one of the best colleges in the country, and actually we've held that ranking for the past 20 years. We are a top performer in sustainability research, and we are an R1 research university, which is the highest designation a university can get in terms of all the great research that they're able to do at their campus. As you will learn, we have a great award-winning career center. We offer tons of student life programs to 450 different student clubs and organizations, such as the Binghamton Transfer Student Association, which you will get to hear from in a little bit. And really our faculty, we have top-notch faculty. We have numerous Guggenheim and Fulbright scholars. That are faculty members. We have National Science Foundation Career Award winners. And we also have a Nobel Prize winner. Dr. Stanley Winningham, who won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry last year for his work with the lithium-ion battery. All of that roped in kind of leads that 88% transfer retention rate. But the other thing that leads to that retention rate are the great opportunities, the different offices that we have that are great resources for our transfer students, which that's what we're going to focus on today. You're going to get to hear representatives from our Transfer Student Services Club, office. You're going to get to hear from our Binghamton Transfer Student Association Club. You will hear from Res Life. You'll hear from our award-winning Fleischman Career Center as well. So we're really excited that you joined us today to learn about some of these different opportunities that await you should you decide to apply and get accepted here at Binghamton. So enough from me at this point. I'm going to go ahead and turn the presentation over to Jillian Kenna from our Transfer Student Services Organization, office rather. And Jillian, you should be able to go ahead.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael. Let's see if I can advance the slide here. Okay, there we go. Hi, everyone. My name's Jillian, and I'm a graduate student assistant at Transfer Student Services. I work under Raleigh Buchanan. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us today, so I'll be speaking on behalf of the office. So this is where you can find us on campus, located in College in the Woods, also known as CIW Library. There's our contact information below. Feel free to, reach out with any questions you may have about, how we kind of help students adjust to Binghamton University, which actually brings us to my next slide. Our office acts as the first point of contact for transfer students as they enter the university. So if you have any type of, there's no such thing as a silly question. We want to be a space where you feel comfortable to come to, and, if you're unsure where to go, you're not familiar with campus or the other offices yet, we want to be there for you. And in terms of other assistance, we provide academic and social programming, newsletters pretty often, office hours, as well as just general guidance and support. As I mentioned earlier, we want to be, a resource and act as support for you, especially entering, a new place that might be kind of difficult. So we want to ease that adjustment as much as possible. So that being said, our goal, as I mentioned earlier, just to make your adjustment as easy as possible and just giving you any type of guidance and support you need, because, it could definitely be a difficult experience. So talking a little bit more about the events we've held in the past. So we actually have National Transfer Student Week coming up this month, which is an annual celebration of transfer students. So that's usually a week-long celebration with many different social and events and other programming. We also will hold coffee hours, community service events. We have a beautiful nature preserve on our campus, so we like to organize hikes, as well as other kind of, seasonal themed things like autumnal events and schedule building. As I mentioned earlier, we want to help you on the academic side as well as, not just social, but even, financial literacy. We want to help you become the most well-rounded Binghamton student we can, and our programming tries to sort of fulfill that. And even this year, just to speak on kind of, the strange circumstances we have, we're working with having similar events just held over Zoom. So yeah, that's sort of that. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about Tau Sigma National Honor Society. So this is an academic society that's designed specifically to recognize the academic achievements of transfer students, because what an achievement it is to come from a completely different place and succeed academically. So you basically need a minimum 3.5 GPA after one semester at the university, and you will be invited to the society, which is, a national honor society. So you can build other connections out of that, and it's a great way to recognize our transfers and their hard work here. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the resources. So in terms of transfer credit questions and issues. So this might be something that's on your mind already if you're considering Binghamton. How will the credits from your last institution transfer over? So those are questions we would direct to the transfer admissions office, so that the email is there, transfer@binghamton.edu, as well as the Fleischman Center, which you'll hear from a representative a little bit later. It's a great resource we have on our campus in terms of finding employment and internship opportunities while you're a student and even post-grad, and they provide wonderful help in terms of building your resume, mock interviews, anything you can imagine. They're there for your support. We also have the off-campus college, which helps with off-campus housing needs, commuter resources, and things to do in Binghamton, especially if you're a transfer student. Maybe if you're coming in as a junior and you don't feel like you want to live on campus, that's somewhere you can go for aid in terms of, where do I find housing in Binghamton or in a surrounding area? So their information is below as well. And lastly, Res Life, who you'll also hear from later, can talk to you a little bit more about on-campus housing and other concerns. So this is all of our contact information. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email, phone, and that's our location on campus. Please feel free to reach out with any concerns or questions you may have in terms of what we offer as a office on campus. But if you're unsure who your question may apply to, still feel free to reach out and ask, because we'd be more than happy to direct you to whoever that may concern. So thank you for listening to my bit. For now, I'm going to hand it off to Jake Kazmerzak of the BTSA, otherwise known as Binghamton Transfer Student Association.
Thanks, Jillian. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jake. As Jillian introduced me, I am a transfer student. I transferred in the fall of 2019. I'm on the board for the Binghamton Transfer Student Association, which offers a social and professional club, and we hold events that get transfer students together. That's the main goal here. Is we create an engaged community for transfer students at Binghamton University to make connections and to make friends, basically. So a little bit more about us. We enable current and incoming transfer students to effectively transition to the university and establish unity between transfer students. So that's really important to make connections and make friends, like I said before. What we do, host events. We do fundraising a lot for different charities and organizations. Through the Student Association, we work with a lot too. We have plenty of events that spread awareness of the many transfer students on and off campus and bring them together, like I said again, to make connections and to establish a community of transfer students on campus. Here's some pictures. And I'm actually going to pass it off now to Ryan, the president of the association, so he can give you some more background information on what we do and what the goal of the club is. So Ryan, go ahead.
Thanks, Nick. Hello, I also transferred here fall of 2019, and for me personally, I joined BTSA immediately as soon as I got here, just like Jake. I was the vice president all of last year, and then this year I am the president. So for me, joining the BTSA really helped me out by kind of adjusting and meeting people, meeting different friends like Jake and others that I've met also on the board and along the way. But we do have stuff, as you see here, like the bonfire we had last year. Obviously, right now, we kind of can't do anything with that with circumstances, but it's been great to be able to have events in the past that we're going to start having in the future very shortly with the circumstances that we're going to be having. Have stuff like Fall Fest, where we get everyone together and we kind of just had a whole bunch of like fall themed activities and stuff like that. And all of our contact information is here. So if you kind of want to get it more from a student perspective, any questions, by all means, don't hesitate to contact us in any way. So this way, because I know sometimes it's a lot easier to talk to a student who's been there and done that to kind of be able to know what to do going forward.
Definitely. Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. Shoot us an email if you have any questions or ask today. We'd be happy to answer, happy to help out. Like I said, the goal of the organization is to make you feel comfortable on campus, and we offer plenty of avenues for connection and networking. So, okay. And then just more pictures. And I'm going to pass it off now to Kristen Caligari with some housing information.
Hi, folks. Welcome to our virtual open house. My name is Kristen Caligari. I'm one of the assistant directors of residential life here at the university, and I'm here to chat with you a little bit more about living on campus. While we don't guarantee housing for transfer students, we certainly do make as many attempts as we can to house those students who are interested in living with us on campus. Transfer students have a variety of options, but predominantly our transfer students live up in the apartments community. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about what that means. So our apartment styles, one of the things that we like about it is that all the apartments, everyone gets a single bedroom at least, if not a super single bedroom. And then you share a living room, a kitchen, and 1 to 2 bathrooms and closet space. We have 2 different apartment communities. One is Hillside, which are 4-person apartments. We also have 6-person apartments in Hillside where everybody has a single room. And then we have the 6-person apartments in Hillside where we have super singles available, which is a much larger room with a full-size bed. We also have the Susquehanna apartments, and those have 4-person apartments and 2-person apartments. The 4-person apartments are each a single bedroom for each student, and the 2-person are 1 single bedroom and 1 super single. One of the things that we like and we found that our transfers enjoy about the living up in the apartments is that it's really independent living. All the apartments have kitchen appliances except for dishwashers, which is good though, because you get to learn how to do that type of stuff if you haven't already. And residents have to provide their own microwaves. We expect our residents to clean their apartments by themselves, including taking out their trash and the recyclables, and provide their own paper products and cleaning products. One of the things that students also enjoy about living in the apartments as transfer students is that a meal plan is not required like on the rest of campus if you live elsewhere on campus. So students really enjoy cooking for themselves, but you can purchase an off-campus / apartments resident meal plan if you do wish. Another one of the perks is if you're bringing a car to campus, which most transfer students are not first-year students, so you're eligible to do. I think we have some of the best parking on campus. We have a back entrance to the campus that you can shoot out of really quickly instead of having to go all the way through the campus traffic. And then if you don't have a car on campus, our campus shuttles run and stop up in Hillside every 15 minutes from our bus stop. We have a number of staff to support you all. We have an apartments community office that's open traditional business hours. That's where I'm located, my area coordinator, my secretary, and our 3 graduate assistant residential coordinators. Each building or pairs of buildings have a resident assistant, which is a returning student that's chosen through a really competitive selection process to provide support, be a peer resource, and they're on duty every single night. One of the things, and you'll get to hear probably more about this when I pass this off, is our career and professional development consultant in residence. This is something that's really unique, I think, to Binghamton University, and that we have professionals in our Fleischman Center who work directly in our housing communities and areas with students on everything from resume reviews to helping them find an internship. We also have MSW interns, which are graduate students who are getting their master's degree in social work, and they provide unique support to our students and any challenges they might be coming up against. Some of our services, living on campus, well, it's certainly an option to live off campus as a transfer student. On-campus living provides you with safety. You have access to Binghamton University Police, Harper's Ferry Ambulance Service, our counseling center hotline, on-duty and all-call staff, as well as a fire safety response. We have maintenance staff on campus, so students can submit work orders for apartment facility issues if something's going on. We also provide lockout service. Should you get your keys and you don't have to pay a lock shop from offsite to come let you in. And then we also have pods and study spaces. So Hillside has the Hillside Student Success Center. It's a common space with a couple of small study rooms and pods computers and printer access. And then Susquehanna has 2 lounges and as well has a pods printing station. We specifically, because we have so many transfers up in the apartments, we work really closely with Transfer Student Services to provide a transfer living community up in Hillside. So we have 4 apartment buildings, Glimmerglass, Hempstead, Jones, and Rockland, that only have transfer students living in them. In addition, we have 4 transfer RAs, most of which were successful transfer students themselves. And so they really understand transfer students' unique needs when they become students here at Binghamton. And we have specific transfer to student design programming. So we have special welcome week events. We have connections to campus activities and resources, transfer advising, schedule building, a transfer newsletter. And this year, for the first time, we actually have a transfer course that only transfer students can take, and it counts as actually one of your Gen Ed requirements. And so recently, as you've heard from everyone else who's gone before me, it's been a unique challenge this year with COVID and the pandemic, and that has not stopped us, and it has not stopped our transfer RAs. Two of my transfer REAs, Rachel, she held a virtual event. We had a community-wide scavenger hunt, and it tasked our residents with building their own teams to solve riddles, complete games, and learn about campus resources. And it had really high attendance, and it really allowed our residents to make some deep connections with each other and with staff. And then our transfer RA, Jen, did a socially distanced hike through the nature preserve and really enjoyed, and you heard that, I think, earlier on, really enjoyed taking advantage of the great weather. So special things about the apartments communities. We have a lot of recreational spaces in Hillside Commons. There's billiards, ping pong, TV, even a pinball machine. The Student Success Center. We have the Hillside Canteen, a fire pit for our students, a volleyball court, basketball court, and a quad, which is a large green area that our students tend to like to play soccer on or co-rec football. Susquehanna has a coffee house. They have lounges in each one of the buildings. We actually have slides and swings, if you can believe that, a fire pit and a half basketball court. And then we have a lot of great traditions, just like down on Lower Campus. We have an apartments-wide welcome week, including a drive-in movie. We have a student success fair, a family weekend duck hunt, which we just did recently, a January welcome back movie, a Groundhog Day Eve, because the groundhog is our mascot event, and an end of the semester bash. We also work closely with our student governments. Our Hillside student government sponsors Hillfest and Hillside Havoc. Hillfest is in the fall, Hillside Havoc's in the spring. Our Susquehanna community government sponsors a Thanksgiving dinner for all the Susquehanna residents and a huge Susquehanna block party at the end of the year. So we really can't wait to meet you. We hope you consider coming to Binghamton and living with us in the apartments. And now I am going to pass it over to Lexi Avery from the Fleischman Center.
Thank you, Kristen. Like Kristen said, my name is Lexi Avery. I work in the Fleischman Center on campus as one of the assistant directors for early engagement. And so one of the communities that I'm going to be working with closely are transfer students and making sure that you're engaged early on in your professional and career development. So we'll go through quite a bit of the services we offer and some things that you should really be thinking about as you're considering schools and what I think makes Binghamton a really strong choice, especially when it comes to post Binghamton, so after graduation planning. So as a Fleischman Center, we work really hard to focus on a more transformative experience versus a transactional experience. So we work with students, any student, any major, any year, and are really focused on educating you and teaching you how to maximize your experience here. I think you've heard across the board a lot of similar qualities of networking and creating community and the resources on campus. And so we're trying to weave that all together for you to make sure that you're having a transformational experience and that you're really working on those professional development skills that you're going to need in whatever you decide to do after graduation. I think, one of the most important things when you're thinking about your next decisions and choices about schools is really how are they preparing me for my life after school, right? School only lasts so long. And so you really need to be thinking about the services and the resources that are available for you to be successful afterwards. And so highlighting just, some of the resources that we have. Again, we're supporting students if you're a first-year transfer, second-year transfer, junior transfer, all of those categories, and potentially thinking about, do I have a resume? Do I have a CV? Do I have a cover letter? Do I even know what those things are? Maybe I'm coming in and not 100% sure what I want to pursue after graduation. And so really helping you through that process is one of the services that we provide. And really getting at those conversations early. I think Kristen mentioned our consultant in residence program. And so Laura is one of our consultants up in the apartments community, and we have one other on campus as well, really there to build relationships with you, build connections, and help you navigate that process. Thinking about after graduation can be scary. And so really needing those supports throughout the way. And I know Laura does a great job in the apartments of building those connections and those relationships so that maybe she's remembering your story or your interests and connecting you with internships or jobs and things like that. So really thinking about how can you use a lot of these resources on campus to maximize your experience while you're here at Binghamton. Internship and job search is really important. So we have a variety of resources to help you through that process. One of the big things is really that networking piece. And I think a lot of people will tell you that the jobs or the internships they've got or the promotions or referrals they've got is through networking, is through building those connections. So we do a lot of programming with our alumni office to make sure that we're engaging you with alumni, helping you to learn how to build those connections so that you can optimize the Binghamton relationship and brand, but also leveraging the experience that you have while at Binghamton and potentially even before as well. We run a credit-bearing internship program through our office as well. So really being able to take advantage of that and have an internship and get credit for it while you're in the semester is really a unique thing that a Career Center offers. Interviewing advice and mock interviews. So again, an additional service. So really helping you all the way from discovering what you want to do, what major might be the right fit for you, through preparing those materials, resume, cover letter, to that interviewing support, mock interview, and then all the way through negotiating a job offer, negotiating internship offers, and so on. Again, some of that networking pieces that I was talking about, really teaching you how to leverage LinkedIn and networking. And we offer a variety of I think, pretty cool programming. We're going to do it virtually this year, but usually in person. So we have a variety of networking events in employer treks. So employer treks are basically opportunities for you to go physically to a company and visit and meet alumni and really learn about the offerings that they have. Typically in January, we go to New York City for a week. Over spring break, we've gone to Boston and Washington, D.C. And then actually in May, 2 years ago at this point, we went to Silicon Valley in California. So really building those connections, and those are all opportunities that students can apply to and take advantage of. The past spring, we did them virtually, and that's the plan this year. But again, a good opportunity to make those connections. And again, we host a lot of networking events to help you build those relationships and kind of move forward. You might decide that graduate school planning is the right fit for you. We help with that as well. So really just highlighting some of the services that we have to offer, I think is a nice thing to think about, and really something you should be thinking about as you're navigating your options. Hire Bing, which some of you might hear in different cases as you're considering your options, but Hire Bing by Handshake is our job and internship portal. It's specific to Binghamton students. Employers who are posting jobs really want Binghamton students. And so you can apply for jobs and internships through this portal. You can schedule appointments with career consultants. So we're available to help navigate all of those things that I mentioned. And it's also where we house our on-campus recruiting. So we have a number of job and internship fairs that we host. So in the fall, we have a really big fair that we did remotely this year. And then in the spring, some industry-specific fairs. So you're able to kind of navigate what's the right fit for you, depending on your career interests. And if things go well and you make those connections, signing up for on-campus recruiting is an option as well. And we actually have interview suites on campus that you're able to take advantage of if you have an upcoming interview and maybe you have a roommate or something and need to kind of navigate that. Went too far, sorry. One of the things that I want to kind of highlight is a bunch of our resources. So that's another thing that you should really be considering and looking at. So what are not only the services, but what are the online resources that a campus has to offer? So we have VMOC, which is an online resume and CV review platform. Basically, you upload your resume and within seconds you get feedback through each bullet point format and all that stuff. And it's really a good first step as you're navigating what makes sense to have on my resume, what doesn't make sense to have on my resume, and kind of navigating that. That networking piece that I mentioned with Mentor Match. So Mentor Match is an online platform that the university actually uses to connect alumni with students. So again, all of these things are really free, and so you should be taking advantage of them and thinking about that as you're making your decisions. Focus to and Candid Career are really good tools if you're kind of trying to navigate what's the right fit for you career-wise. And so Candid Career has thousands of informational interview videos featuring different industry professionals that you can take advantage of. Career Shift and InnerStride are both job search management tools. InnerStride is great for international students and international experiences. And Career Shift is great when you're, again, thinking about making those connections and applying to different jobs. Imagine PhD is specifically tooled for PhD prospective students. So thinking about, again, that post-grad planning. And then Big Interview is a great tool as you're practicing. So as you're considering, what school is the right fit for you, I think you'll find that Binghamton has a lot to offer, our students. And we work really hard to make sure that whatever your decisions are regarding your career, that we're here to support you along the way. And your success afterwards is our success. So we want to make sure that you're happy with the services that you're getting and that you're happy with your job or your grad program when you leave. So if you have any questions around that area, I'm happy to answer them. You're also able to email careers@binghamton.edu, and we're able to answer some of those questions, especially if this is a key consideration for whether Binghamton's a good fit for you or not.
All right, excellent. Thank you. And thank you to everyone on the panel. So we're going to talk a little bit about the steps to apply here at Binghamton as a transfer student. So Binghamton accepts one of 3 applications. We really have no preference as to the application you choose, whether it's the SUNY online application, the Common application, or the Coalition. Again, Binghamton has no preference. We just ask that you do submit at least one of them, or well, one of them, not at least, only submit one. So again, the SUNY online application, Common application, or the Coalition to go ahead and begin the transfer application process. In terms of transcripts, as a transfer student, you will need to submit all college transcripts in which you have attempted to earn college credit. And if you are, at time of application, have earned less than 24 college credits since high school graduation, so dual credit courses, AP, IB, those credits will not count towards our 24 credit requirement. So if you have earned less than 24 college credits since graduating from high school, you will also need to submit your official high school transcript as well. Now, one of the things that I did not add on here was SAT and ACT scores. Binghamton has gone test optional when it comes to official standardized test scores. So what that means is you have the choice of whether or not you want to submit your SATs and if you want us to utilize those as part of the admissions process, again, if you have less than 24 college credits earned since high school graduation at time of application. Most of our transfer students have more than 24 credits, so we don't really need to worry about that. But again, if you kind of fall in that lower than 24 college credits, high school transcript is going to be required, and then you will have the option about the SAT or ACT scores, whether or not you want to submit those. Once you submit everything that's part of your application, you are going to want to check your email. You're going to get some really important emails. The most important one is going to be setting up your application status checker account. Once you set that up, you will be able to go into Binghamton's website and keep track of all the requirements for your application. So if you're unsure if you're going to be required to submit your official transcript from high school, you can log on to your application status checker and check to see if it's something that we are requiring. You will also see any additional requests that may be asked of you from the admissions committee, such as a course progress report, which I know there's been some questions about that course progress report. If you are asked to submit that, there's 2 ways you can do so. There is a form that you will have access to through your application status checker that you can print out and have your instructors fill it out and send it back to us. Now, obviously, we know with COVID, many institutions are not offering in-class offerings, so everything is being done remotely. If you are asked to submit a course progress report and your classes are remote, you can just have the instructors email us your grades, or they can email you the grades and you can then forward them to us to transfer@binghamton.edu. Again, that email address will be located on your application status checker and on the actual course progress report form as well. You'll also get emails letting you know there have been updates to your status checker. A lot of you will learn quicker in terms of your admissions decision through your status checker. While we do send things through the mail as well, obviously we update electronic much faster, so keep an eye on your email for any updates to your status checker. And talking about some deadlines in terms of the application, Binghamton is rolling admissions for transfer students, which means we will accept applications up until we just are full. We're just not able to accept any more applications for certain majors or in general. But we do have something called priority deadlines, which these priority deadlines are November 1st for those applying for the spring and March 1st for those that are applying for the fall. So priority, we will look at your application. We will look at applications that come in prior to those deadlines before we look at any applications that come in after. Any applications that come in after those deadlines are going to be as space available. And just talking real quick about requirements for schools. I'm not going to go into great detail as all of our schools will have information sessions throughout our open house week. But just taking a quick look, if you're interested in any of the majors within our College of Community Public Affairs, which would be our Human Development program, or social work, which social work is a fall-only program. If you're interested in our nursing, Decker College of Nursing and Health Science, again, that is a fall-only program. Or our Harper College of Arts and Sciences, which is our largest school with over 130 majors, you will need at minimum to show a 3.0 cumulative GPA. Decker does have some prereq courses that they like to have you complete, which they can be found on our transfer admissions website. And you can learn more about those, again, by attending the Decker College info session as part of Open House. If you're interested in our School of Management, which will house our Bachelor's of Accounting or Business Administration, they require at least a 3.5 GPA or higher, and there are some prereq courses, 4 of them, that they would like to have you have completed. We also have our Watson College of Engineering and Applied Science. This program, depending on the major, will require either a 3 or a 3.2. The 3.2 are going to be for our computer science program, which is fall only. Mechanical and electrical engineering programs will require a 3.2 as well. All of our Watson programs, whether it's the engineering or computer science, are fall-only START programs. So really important things to kind of keep aware as you start to decide if Binghamton's the right school for you as you transfer. And we are really hoping that you will get that you will decide to apply to become a Bearcat. Applications for both the spring and the fall are open now, so you definitely can start that application process today if we have inspired you to do so. Now, I do looking at the time, we do have a little time left, so I do have some questions, some easy questions for our panel. So I'm going to start with a question for our Transfer Student Services office and Jillian. So hopefully Jillian is still available. And Jillian, question, how can a transfer student get connected to your office?
Sure. So you can email us at transfer services. So that's trancvcs@binghamton.edu. You can also call us. I forget the last few digits, that's my bad, but honestly, email's the best to get to us, as well as our Instagram, Facebook. I would say those are our main ways to contact us with any questions.
Excellent, great. And if any students on our presentation today do have questions, please make sure you do continue to ask them in that Q&A section of the chat box, as we'll be more than happy to answer questions as we go. There is a question about, can you apply again if you've already applied to a different program? Yes and no. You definitely can apply again, but it cannot be for the same semester. So if you apply for the spring for, let's say, our School of Management, and you unfortunately do not get in, you would have to wait until a decision is made before you can apply for the fall. You cannot reapply again for the same semester. Quick question for our Fleischman Career Center. Are transfer students able to get involved in internships if they are not mandatory within their major, and how can they do that?
Yeah, so we definitely encourage students to get any type of experience, and internships are definitely a good place to start. Usually for our CDCI academic internship program, we really would like you to be sophomore, junior, or senior to participate in that. And so there are some majors on campus that, like Michael mentioned, require internships or some type of experience. So you can use an internship that is CDCI for that. There are definitely options, and they're all posted through our HireBing system. I think experiences is really important, and especially if you're coming in as a transfer and you want to get started right away, the CDCI academic internship program is a good first step. And so you can get more information about that program on our website, or you can email careers@binghamton.edu, and we can send you over some information as you're making that decision.
Great, excellent. Question for Kristen and our Res Life office, which very near dear heart office of mine, as I used to be a former RD, not at Binghamton, but very familiar with Res Life. Kristen, besides apartments, where else can transfer students live on campus if they so choose, and how can they go about choosing where they would like to live?
Sure. Like I said before, the bulk of transfer students do live up in the apartments communities. However, we do reserve a limited number of transfer spaces in each one of our 5 lower campus communities. For us, when we say lower campus, what we mean is Newing, Dickinson, College in the Woods, Hinman, and Mountain View. So there are spaces in each one of those for transfer students. What will happen in terms of selecting where you would like to live on campus is if you decide that Binghamton's the institution for you and you decide to enroll, you will receive you get your Binghamton email to set up, and then you'll receive information from Residential Life about the process for signing up. Our housing process is all online, so you're able to go in and review our housing license, sign it, and fill out a whole bunch of information, including which areas you want to preference. We also have a really cool online roommate matching system as well. My daughter actually transferred in fall of 2019 and actually used that a little bit. She ended up going with some random roommates, but she definitely was able to use that. It actually tells you what your percentage match is to somebody else based on how you answer questions. And so that's how you would go about selecting your preference. And then you're assigned a random date and time that you would be logging into the system, and then you look and you see what spaces are available out of the areas that you would like during that time, and you actually go in online and put yourself into a bed. So that's how our housing system works for transfer students.
Excellent. Thank you, Kristen. And a question for either Jake or Ryan for the Binghamton Transfer Student Association. How can a student get involved in your organization or maybe other organizations on campus that they may have an interest in once they arrive on campus?
For my organization, you can get involved. We have a kind of like a listserv that you can kind of apply on once you kind of get here. And we'll try to have events throughout the semester. Right now, it's definitely kind of difficult, and we haven't really been able to schedule as many events as we want. But kind of the way I got involved when I first got here is I went to a lot of the transfer student services events that they had. Like they kind of had a bonfire, and that's where I met a lot of people that I was friends with that when I transferred last year. And that's how I got involved early and kind of met people who were kind of in the same situation as me. I actually transferred as a junior, and I met a lot of people who also transferred. So I guess I suggest, the quickest way to get involved is, as of right now with the circumstances, definitely shoot a couple emails out to different organizations on campus, which you can all find their information very easily if you look it up. Whatever scheduled events you can find on our pages, you'll be able to go to those and then kind of meet other students that way and get help that way.
Thank you, Ryan. And the last question that I have for the panel is actually another question for Lexi and Fleischman. Are alumni able to still get connected with Fleischman Career Center for any help once they graduate from Binghamton?
Yeah, so we serve all alumni up to 6 months after graduation. So, once you graduate in May or December, you have 6 months to get the same exact services that you would as a student. And then beyond that 6 months, there's more limited services, but you always have access to your Higher Bing account. You have access to Career Shift, which was actually purchased by the alumni office. So again, that's another job board and networking platform. So there's a number of things that you can still have access to. The biggest thing after the 6 months is you don't get the one-on-one, the consulting appointment as you would within that 6 months time period.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you so much. Looking at the question and answers, it looks like all the questions have been answered. And I know I'm actually out of my prepared questions for the panel. So on behalf of the Office of Undergraduate Admissions, I would like to thank our panel, Kristen from Res Life, Lexi from Fleischman Career Center, both Ryan and Jake from our Binghamton Transfer Student Association, and Jillian from the Transfer Student Services office here on campus. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to meet with us and discuss all the great things that your offices and organizations can offer to prospective transfer students. And lastly, thank you to all of you that took time out of your schedule to join us today and learn more about Binghamton and again, the great transfer things that we have. I really hope that this has inspired you to apply to Binghamton, or if you've already applied, hopefully this has kind of put us a little bit higher on your list for your decisions on where you might be looking to attend for either the spring or for the fall semesters. So on behalf of the Office of Undergraduate Admissions, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you in some of our other open house sessions. Enjoy the rest of your day.